slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports, Tuesday, June 30th. We had a very small win on the show yesterday. Believe it or not, there you go. 134, 77, and 10 run last 86 days now. We did get the win with the, we got a loss first with Germany. Germany won that game statistically, so, what do you want to say about that? It goes to penalty kicks, and the teams that I thought were going to be good at penalty kicking, especially the Netherlands, both failed in the penalty kicks. I don't know what else to say about that. Germany definitely could have won that game. Maybe it wasn't the right play to lay the spread, but Germany dominated the second half in that match, and they still just couldn't put anything in. They got one goal and couldn't do any more than that. I don't know what else to say about that. France has a pretty clear path right now. Yeah, which does not help me because I didn't pick them in my bracket, but I do have them in the semifinals. I don't remember what else I was going to say, but I was going to say I was wrong about how the three-way line and the spread betting and the totals work in soccer in the knockout round. Those do actually only apply to the first 90 minutes, like the regular game, so they don't actually take into account the extra time. I thought that they took into account extra time, but not penalty kicks, but I was wrong about that. They don't take into account extra time. I still stand by not liking betting on the draw, though. I know Saab got a win on the draw in the Morocco-Netherlands game, whatever. I still didn't like that. I haven't dug into that box score to see if Netherlands were getting unlucky in that game or not. I didn't really watch the game, so I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. All of that surprised me, especially Netherlands. They have good strikers, dude. I'm pretty shocked that they lost a penalty kick situation as well. Things did not go well for those favorites yesterday. Today, I think they will go a little bit better for the favorites today. I don't have a World Cup play today. I'm completely spraying the baseball board today. I have 4 baseball plays, and I'm going to have a play in the WNBA Commissioner's Cup, too. And if we lose that, we're going to be losing on the WNBA season after being 5-0. And only making 7 plays since then. It's almost impossible, and multiple of those plays have been completely unlucky. McAdoo, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, let's just do this. This is going to take forever. Baseball, White Sox, Baltimore. All these games are in the evening. Baltimore has lost 3 in a row. They lost yesterday. I think the White Sox kind of unloaded late in that game against Baltimore's not very good bullpen to win that game, which I did mention yesterday. I believe the White Sox are the better bullpen. White Sox used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Baltimore used 4. White Sox are ranked 18th in bullpen. Orioles 15th. But like I said, White Sox, better bullpen ERA. I don't really buy some of these rankings sometimes. I range it by whip, which I think is usually better, but you kind of have to figure it out by digging into the numbers a little bit. White Sox are the better offense. They're ranked 5th. The Orioles are 18th right now. Probably Orioles are a little bit better than that, though. And then we have a pitching matchup today that is really bad, which is why you have a 10.5 total on this game in a Baltimore game. They're lining this game like it's a Coors Field game, basically. Baltimore is a somewhat hitter-friendly ballpark, and they have had totals like this before, but yeah, this looks like it's going to be a game where there are going to be some runs. Eric Fedde is going for the White Sox. and I will caution that they might put an opener in front of them. So if you're going to play this game, I'd probably, I might even just play it action, to be honest, in this game, because we basically know like what we're going to get from these pitching staffs here, but we don't know, is there going to be an opener in front of either of these guys? So I don't know. This is a game where like an action play might just make sense here. Fetty is probably going to at least pitch in this game at some point. 4.34 ERA, 1.42 whip is not very good. He's not good on the road. 5.85 road ERA. He was okay, I guess, in his last few starts. He's not going deep into these outings, though, which is a red flag that he's not even making it to 5 innings here in his last 3 outings. Faced a couple of kind of weak offenses in the last 2 as well. His walk rate is kind of high. Over the course of the season, it is definitely too high. His hit rate also too high. Strikeout rate is also low. There's not a lot to like about him here. He does not have great numbers against Baltimore either. In 58 at-bats, 276 average allowed, 891 OPS, and a 9-11 strikeout walk ratio. I would not trust Eric Fetty here. Trey Gibson is pitching for the Orioles. Much younger guy, maybe with some upside, but it doesn't look good, man. 5.64 ERA, 1.65 whip. These are bad numbers. He's not good at home, 5.94 home ERA. So the home road splits are against both starters here. Orioles have lost all but one of this guy's starts so far. He's only made it 5 innings twice in 7 starts. This is not good. I know he's faced some good offenses in here, but actually, in fact, he's faced mostly good offenses here, but this guy, I mean, his numbers are awful. His hit rate's too high. His walk rate is really high. Strikeout rate is mediocre. There's not a lot to like here. I know the White Sox haven't seen him before, but that unfamiliarity has not helped him out throughout this season so far. I mean, all these lineups he's facing are unfamiliar with him. Doesn't matter. They're all hitting him. So as you could tell, over is the way I would play this game if I was going to play it. I haven't done it, though. It's kind of tempting, but the money's backing the under, and the total is high for sure. It's at 10.5. Like, I would much rather see this at like 9. Well, obviously, 9 is a key number, but the odds makers are not going to give you that. I mean, even if it was 9.5, I might feel a little bit more tempted to do it. 76% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the under. Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I don't think the bullpens are trustworthy either. I think this game is an over. That's what I think about that. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. That is not one of my plays, though. All right, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. We did get the win. Oh, I forgot to mention the win yesterday. We did win with Pittsburgh, and it was a crazy win. We had Braxton Ashcraft gave up 3 home runs in the game, I think, and they were losing 5-0. I was like, oh, God, like they're going to take Ashcraft out of the game. They didn't. They left him in the game, and he settled down, and he wound up pitching 6 innings in the game, and he wound up out-pitching Nola, which was my handicap in the game. Pittsburgh was losing the game 5-0 in the 4th inning, and we needed them to be winning by the end of the 5th, and they did. They got 2 runs in the 4th and then 6 runs in the 5th, and they were up 8-5 at the end of the 5th. And Ashcraft was still in the game at that point. He had a scoreless 5th. One of the crazier ways that you win a play, for sure, but I think it was the right play. The situation made sense. The pitching matchup made sense. Nola totally imploded in the game. Ashcraft, after he was bad early in the game, he settled down and wound up out-pitching Nola, and lasting deeper into the game, so that's what we wanted. Pittsburgh did win the full game, too, so if you played the full game, you got it as well. You know, it was a little bit more questionable. Their bullpen wasn't great in the game, but they held Philly to 2 runs there, whatever. Pittsburgh won the game, as I was alluding to there. Could be a bounce back for Philly, because when a team loses in that return home spot, a lot of times they bounce back in the next game. Maybe that'll happen here, but Pittsburgh's going to want to get these games too, because they're the little brother in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Philadelphia, 3. Pittsburgh don't like their bullpen, as I have said. They're number 22. I mean, they're not the worst bullpen, but they're not great. Philadelphia is 12th. They're not that good either. ERA in the 4s, but better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's offense is really good. They're number 2 right now, although they're better at home. Philadelphia is 22nd. Pitching matchup, though, this is going to be difficult for Pittsburgh to get this win. Bubba Chandler is pitching for them. He's got talent, dude. It's just he's been walking too many guys. He looked good at the end of last year. This year, he's got a 4.42 ERA, 1.39 whip. So, I mean, these numbers are not awful, but he's got to get better. And I think he can. I mean, he's still really young. He's got talent. He's better on the road, 4.2 road ERA, but Philadelphia's better at hitting at home. Chandler, he looked decent in his last few starts, really. He's pitched a little bit better here. Over the last, I would say, 4 starts, maybe he's been a little bit better, allowing 2 or fewer runs in all of them. A little bit questionable, though, with the walks still kind of being an issue. He walked too many guys last time out. Had only 1 strikeout in a game in Coors Field, but he still held Colorado pretty much off the board, so that wasn't bad, really, but the strikeout rate was kind of alarming there that it was so low. His walk rate is still way too high in the season, but his other numbers look pretty good. His hit rate is really low. His strikeout rate is all right. Chandler, he's capable of pitching better than what his numbers would suggest. Like, I think he might turn this around at some point, and his career might take off a little bit, but it hasn't totally happened yet. Numbers against Philly are not very good, but only 10 at-bats against him. They have several hitters who have seen him. 300 average, 1,200 OPS, 1 strikeout, 4 walks. That's not exactly great. And he's going to have to contend with matching up against Christopher Sanchez, who is a Cy Young candidate here. 2.13 ERA, 1.11 whip. His numbers have gotten worse recently. He's got a .95 home ERA, though. So he's been really good at home. He's allowed 4+ runs in 2 of his last 3 outings, though. Both of those on the road and against Milwaukee and Washington. But he's facing another good offense here in Pittsburgh. But I mean, he's good. I mean, I don't really put much weight into those couple of bad starts there. I think he's still good. There was going to be some regression because his numbers are just unsustainably good, but he's got a pretty low hit rate here. His walk rate's really low. Strikeout rate is high. I mean, these numbers are good. He also is a very ground ball heavy pitcher, so there's a lot to like here about him. His numbers against Pittsburgh are fine. 268 average allowed, 631 OPS is pretty low, and 71 at bats, 17-4 strikeout walk ratio. Problem is, if you want to back Sanchez here, you have to lay minus 240 something here on Philly. I mean, that is an extremely high price. I think it's probably unwarranted, actually. I mean, you're paying a lot just for Sanchez here. Philly is the better team in some ways, and they're better at home, but that price, I don't think you can lay that price, man. I mean, with that price, maybe there is some argument to look towards like a Pittsburgh run line there to keep this game closer than people think. The money is hitting the under here as well, the total at 8.5. I think if I was going to go under, I'd probably do it in the first 5. But then you're relying on Chandler to like hit his ceiling in this game, you know what I mean, and actually pitch well, which he is capable of, but I would not want to bank on it. Also, I don't really want to play Pittsburgh either. I mean, Philly clearly does have the edge in this game. Like, they should get the win here, but you're paying a huge price for it, which I think is just too high. So do with that what you want. But, yeah, I mean, Philadelphia probably wins that game. Next 2 games up are going to be plays for me. Yep. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Clicking on the wrong thing. Unless you guys want to rewatch my old intro again, which sometimes I use as an intermission. Maybe I will. We're going to take the under in Texas and Cleveland. I mean, I was eyeballing this game yesterday. I said yesterday that this looks like a very under-conducive series between these two teams. These teams both play a lot of low-scoring games. I mean, they're both better at pitching than hitting, so that kind of lends itself towards unders. Cleveland is playing a lot of unders at home. So is Texas, but this is at Cleveland. The game yesterday went over as well. It was a 6-3 game yesterday. This game, I think it is going to go under. We can get a 7.5 at a decent price there, as you can see. Texas, they did use their better relievers yesterday, which does worry me a little bit, but they did have some rest prior to that, so it's possible they can use them 2 games in a row. They do have a good bullpen in general. They used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Cleveland's bullpen is a little bit worrisome, but they're fairly rested here. They used 3 guys yesterday. Didn't really use the best reliever they used yesterday. They didn't use him for that many pitches. But I think we can go with this. I like getting the hook on the full game, too, rather than looking at maybe a 3.5 in the first 5. I mean, if you want to go first 5 and you can find like a 4 on this, you could do that too. But I think we can leave the bullpens in this one. Plus, we're also banking on like these starters might be able to get us through like more than the 5th inning. You know what I mean? Which I'm going to talk about more in the next game. So you know where I'm going with the next game too, which is going to look too obvious. But I think you can get some of these starters can get you deeper than 5 innings, right? And keep pitching well. Texas, they're ranked 9th in bullpen right now. Their ERA is higher than you would think that it would be, but this is a pretty good Texas bullpen here. Cleveland is ranked 19th, which doesn't sound good, but their ERA is better than a lot of the teams around them, so I don't think that that's a bad bullpen, really. Hitting-wise, these teams have not been good. Cleveland, 28th, dealing with injuries as well. Texas, 19th, I mean, not too bad, and they are better on the road, but this is a more pitcher-friendly environment, in my opinion. And I like the starting pitching here, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. We get Jacob deGrom here. I know we've been up and down with him. We've had some good outings from him that we backed him. We've had some bad ones, too. I think we've won more than we've lost backing him, though. He's got a 3.55 ERA, 1.03 whip. Good stuff here. I know he's not as good on the road, 4.6 road ERA, which makes sense because Texas, they have a very pitcher-friendly environment, but this is not one of his more difficult road environments here. Like I said, this is a pitcher-conducive ballpark to some degree, and he's facing a weak offense here, so I don't think this is a typical road start for him here. He's in good form. I know he gave up 6 runs last time out against San Diego, which is a bit of a red flag, and that was at home too, but he had 9 strikeouts in that one and only allowed 6 hits. His walks were up in that game. He walked 3, but I think it was a little bit misleading. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs in every other outing that he's gone since late May, so he's definitely in good form here. 36-8 strikeout walk ratio this month in 29 innings with 23 hits allowed, so that's good. All those numbers are good across the board. He's got a low hit rate on the season, a high strikeout rate, and a low walk rate, so all of his numbers are good here. He's a fly ball pitcher, which is a little bit worrisome, but again, this is a ballpark that can kind of negate that a little bit. Not really a home run conducive ballpark, and he's got some pretty good numbers against Cleveland. 143 batting average allowed, 460 OPS, and 49 at bats. So this is a decent sample, although half of it is Rhys Hoskins. Hoskins hasn't been great against him, but these numbers overall are good. 16 strikeouts, 9 walks. The walks is kind of an issue, but 5 of them are Hoskins, so a little bit of an outlier there maybe. But Hoskins also hasn't been able to hit him. So I think deGrom should set up well here. And I also like Tanner Bybee in this one. Bybee, I mean, I think he's all right, and he kind of goes under the radar. He wasn't great last year, and his record is terrible this year, but he's been better this year than last year, even though his record is worse. It's because he's getting no run support this year, but that's what we want. When we're playing an under, we want him to continue to not get run support here. He's got a 3.78 ERA, 1.14 whip. Pretty good. He's better at home slightly, 3.58 home ERA. Threw a 6-inning shutout last time out against the White Sox. That's a decent sign. That's a good offense. Bybee has allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in his last 5 starts. One of them was against Texas. In Texas, he went 8 innings and shut them out. So he pitched well, although his strikeout rate was down in that one. But he's been good. He's been pretty unhittable this month. His hit rate is really low, although his strikeout rate is a little bit low too, but his walk rate hasn't been too bad. He's faced a couple of good offenses in there, so he's pitching pretty well right now. He's got a low hit rate on the season. His walk rate's reasonably low as well. Does allow some home runs, but again, I think that could be knocked down a little bit in this stadium. And his strikeout rate is not great on the season. Like you'd want to see it a little bit higher than that, but he has good numbers against Texas. They hit 196 off him, 589 OPS, 56 at bats, 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. The number of walks is a little high, but other than that, it looks pretty good. deGrom, by the way, I think did face Cleveland in that recent series too, and he went 6 shutout innings there. So both of these pitchers had shutout performances last time out against these opposing offenses. And yeah, it might mean that the offenses might adjust and do a little bit better. But even if they do, like, I'm not asking both pitchers to pitch an absolute shutout here, although it would be helpful. I'm just asking them to be good here. And I don't think it's going to help the offenses that much because these guys are veteran pitchers. Like, these offenses have seen these guys before, you know what I mean? So having one extra game against them recently is not going to help the offenses that much. So we're going to go under in this one. The money's backing the over. I don't really get it. 53% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. Doesn't really make sense to me. The total is low. It's low for a reason. Good pitching here, I think, and weak hitting as well. 70% of tickets, 90% of the cash on Texas for what that's worth. Texas is laying minus 120, but I think you're paying a little bit too much of a price for that for Jacob deGrom. Like, that's, you're paying for a name pitcher, right? So, maybe Bibby's being a little bit overlooked in the market there. I don't have a good read on the side, really, though. Like I said, if I'm leaning under, sometimes it does make sense that maybe you want to look towards the underdog as well. If it's going to be a low-scoring game, the underdog might be able to hang around. But I think under is the right way to play that game. The next game up is, you know what it is. I mean, it looks way too easy. It's Detroit and the Yankees on TBS and Amazon Prime. This is one of the most elite pitching matchups you're going to get all season. But I think we're getting a fine number on this. We're going under in this one. I know it seems too obvious, but that's what I'm going to do. It's under 7.5 at minus 117. I thought that was a pretty reasonable price here for a pitching matchup between two Cy Young contenders here. I mean, I was expecting this number to be 7.5 or maybe even lower, but I think because it's the Yankees at home and they have a powerful offense, I think maybe that's what's doing this here. But this Yankees offense has not been good over the last 2 weeks, basically. This has been an offense that's been struggling a bit. Granted, a lot of those games were on the road, and a lot of them were against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox pitch well, but hello. The Yankees are also facing an elite pitcher here, so we have an elite pitching matchup here, like I said, so I think under makes sense to me here. I know we're going to keep the bullpens in. Again, I think the pitchers can kind of get you through more than 5 innings here, too. So I think that's going to take the load off the bullpens a bit. But we have at least one good bullpen here, and I think the other one is good enough. Detroit, they won yesterday against the Yankees. It was a bad spot for the Yankees returning home from the road and coming off that weekend series against the Yankees against the Red Sox and playing the night game. Not a good spot. So I did lean towards Detroit a little bit, but I also liked the under in yesterday's game, and it didn't happen. It was Mize against Weathers. Mize pitched well. Weathers not so much, but we don't have to deal with a pitching matchup like that here. This is a pitching matchup where it's highly likely you're going to get good starts out of both guys here. Detroit only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, so they're the more worrisome bullpen, and they're pretty rested here because the game was well in hand, so they didn't really have to use any of their better relievers. Yankees, they did use 5 relief pitchers. They didn't really use their better relievers, although their closer, who I think Bednar, I'm pretty sure he's their closer. He's on paternity leave right now, so I don't know if he's coming back for this game or not. Hopefully he is, although I know I like to fade the baby because I think the new baby is a distraction. So I'm actually kind of okay with him not pitching here. Maybe the Yankees will just be winning the game and they won't have to use them anyway. But I also kind of like that both of these games that were playing the under, they both went over yesterday. Yankees, by the way, have lost 5 games in a row. But as far as the side is concerned, they just return home from the road. And, I talk about it when a team does poorly in the return home spot, a lot of times they will bounce back and play better in the next game. But obviously, I'm not looking at the side here. I'm looking at the total. I don't know what else to say about I don't even know what I was just about to say. Oh, yeah, I like the fact that the game hit 10 runs yesterday because I think that might give us a little bit of value on this number, too. I think the odds makers maybe have to skew the number a little bit on the total in both of these games we're talking about here because we had overs hit in both games yesterday. Maybe it gives us a little bit more value on the under, but, I mean, obviously you could see what the starting pitching matchup is here. But looking at the offenses here, the bullpens, the Yankees are ranked 5th, and they have the second best bullpen ERA right now. They're good. I don't think they're quite that good, but they're a pretty good bullpen. Detroit is not bad at 16th. Their bullpen ERA is at least below 4, so and they're rested, and their better relievers are available here. Yankees are number 3 in offense, and they're better at home, but like I said, they've not been hitting well recently, and they're going up against a really good pitcher here. Detroit hasn't been good on offense. They're number 20th. Although I know Yankee Stadium does tend to be a more hitter-friendly ballpark. But again, we got Scooble going for Detroit here. 3.32 ERA, but his whip is .99, so that suggests that his ERA should be lower than that probably. We know he's good, man. He's also been better on the road this year for whatever reason. 2.55 road ERA, so his home road splits are better for the road games here. He did just pitch against the Yankees, and he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings, but he was not that bad. He got unlucky. He gave up 3 home runs. This was in Detroit. He only gave up 4 hits. It's just 3 of them happened to be home runs. He also had 9 strikeouts and no walks, went 6 innings, so he pitched fine in that game. It was just that I think he got a little bit unlucky with where those hits went. His strikeout walk ratio this month, since coming back from injury, 21-2. So obviously his command is on point here. So I'm not too concerned about him here, even though he is facing a good offense. We know what you get out of Scooble, man. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is extremely low. Strikeout rate is pretty high as well. Against the Yankees overall, he's got good numbers. 190 batting average allowed, 612 OPS, 79 at bats, so it's a big sample. 25 strikeouts, 3 walks. Aaron Judge is still out as well, so something to keep in mind there. But yeah, Scooble should do well here, but I think we have the better pitcher on the other side right now. Cam Schlittler is pitching for the Yankees. So, again, this looks like a major pitching duel here. So I'm kind of surprised the total isn't lower than it is. 1.62 ERA, .92 whip from him. So we have 2 starting pitchers that both have a sub-1 whip, which is a rarity. Schlittler has actually not been as good at home in the more hitter-friendly ballpark here, although he's made more starts on the road so far. But he's got a 2.56 home ERA, still not bad at all. He did not face Detroit in that last series, so Detroit has not seen him recently. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate, everything that you want to see. Detroit hasn't really seen him much. They have 6 hitters who have faced him, 15 at bats, 1 extra base hit as a home run from Outman. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's held them to a 200 average and 650 OPS. So it's a small sample, but obviously I think Schlittler can do well against a pretty weak lineup, really, in Detroit here. And they have not really done that well against him in a small sample and haven't seen him for a while. So under is my call in this game. It seems too obvious, but sometimes the obvious is right. I don't like that the money's back in the over in both games that I've talked about so far. 57% of tickets on the under, 60% of the cash on the over. So, I know I don't like it when it looks too obvious, but this total is not high. It's at 7.5, so you're still getting that key number there. I don't know what else to tell you, man. I think it's an under. If you want to go first 5 with it, you could do that too, but you're probably looking at a 3.5 in this one. First 5 is probably where you get the least value in a matchup like this with elite starting pitchers because everybody knows that's what they are. So you're probably looking at a total in the first 5 that's shaded lower, you know what I mean? So I think there might be a little bit more value in playing this full game and hoping the starting pitchers get you 6 innings out of each of them, you know what I mean? Which is what they both, Scooble pitched six innings last time out against the Yankees. Schlittler can definitely get through 6 innings here too, so that takes the load off the bullpen a little bit. Money is back in the Yankees as well. They're in the minus 120s, 52% of the tickets and 75% of the cash on the Yankees. So the money is back in the Yankees. I wouldn't disagree. I think the Yankees actually have the better starter here. I know how crazy that sounds. He's a little bit more unfamiliar to them as well. They're in more of a bounce-back spot. They have the better offense, and their bullpen is slightly better too. So I slightly lean to the Yankees too, but I like the under, obviously. Again, it seems too obvious, but that's what we're doing. Some of these games do seem too obvious today, but it is what it is. All right, New York and Toronto. I looked at this starting pitching matchup, and I'm like, this looks like an under too, but then I dug into the matchup, and not so much. This is Mets and Toronto is what I'm talking about. Toronto won the game 2-1 yesterday. If you played my lean in that game, which was Toronto first 5 yesterday, you did get the win with that. They were winning 2-0 at that point in the game. And their bullpen held on to the 2-1 win. Toronto's bullpen is not the better of these two, though. They used 3 relief pitchers, light usage. Mets didn't really use their bullpen heavily either. They only used 2 guys, so it looks like Manaea probably pitched a lot of the innings yesterday. I'm assuming it was still him yesterday. The Mets are 3rd in bullpen. They've been a good bullpen this year. Toronto's been okay at 13th, so we have decent bullpens here. We have some offenses that haven't looked good, so a lot of things that do kind of look towards the under here. Toronto 23rd in offense, Mets 29th out of 30. So yeah, this game does look like an under for the most part. Nolan McLean pitching for the Mets. I like him. He's good. I think he's better than his 4.03 ERA makes him look. 1.12 whip indicates his ERA should probably be in the 3s. He's a solid pitcher, dude. He's struggled a little bit, more recently, but I think he's good. You could definitely make the argument that he's the best pitcher in the Mets pitching staff here. He's still really young, so I think he might still have some room for improvement a little bit. He's been better on the road. I don't know if it's just that the pressure is off when he's on the road, but he has a 2.85 road ERA, so that looks good for him here. So again, it is looking better for the under here. McLean did give up 6 runs last time out against the Cubs, but it was in 6 innings, 7 hits allowed. He had 9 strikeouts in that game and 2 walks. So he pitched well in that game. I think he just got a little bit unlucky. He's going 100 pitches in most of his outings now, so they're really kind of unleashing him here, which maybe should worry you a little bit once we get later into the season because he might be a little bit tired because these young pitchers that have not completed a full season yet sometimes will tire out before the end of the season. I don't think we're at that point yet, though. I like what we're seeing for the most part out of him. The 4 prior starts to that last one, McLean allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all of them, though one of them he didn't make it 5 innings against Atlanta, but he was pitching pretty well over those starts mostly, although his walk numbers were kind of high. But his last 2 starts, he's gotten his walk number back down, so his command is getting better again. He's got a really high strikeout rate here on the season, low hit rate as well, and his walk rate is a little bit high, but his numbers are still overall good. And Toronto's never faced him before, so that should be an extra advantage to the young pitcher when the offense hasn't seen him before. So I like how McLean sets up in this one. He looks to be coming back into form. Good numbers on the road, and I think a good matchup. The problem that I have with the under is actually Kevin Gausman. Gausman, he's better than his ERA suggests, though. 4.36 ERA, 1.19 whip. I think he's better than his ERA makes it look. He's been better at home, 3.7 home ERA. So, again, it does look like a lot of things looking towards the under here. And, again, you have 2 pitchers that have ERAs in the 4s, but they're both better than that. So that's another indicator towards an under here. Why don't I like the under, though? Well, Gausman, he has not had a good month. He has a 7.62 ERA this month. Gave up 13 earned runs over his last 8 innings across 2 starts. One was against the Cubs, and that looked like a fluke at the time. I backed him in his last game against Texas. I think I gave an under in the last game, and he was awful. That's a red flag, dude. He was not good against Texas. That was at home. I mean, Texas is better on the road, but Gausman's better at home. So I don't know what that was. Texas, not a good offense generally. So Gausman, he hasn't been good since he had a really good start against the Yankees, and that was his only good start this month. Go figure. He's had 5 starts this month, and the only really good one was against the Yankees, which was at home, but still, he's in bad form right now, so that really concerns me. His overall numbers are still good. He's got a decent hit rate, pretty low walk rate here, decent strikeout rate as well. The other problem I have, though, is, believe it or not, the Mets have pretty much destroyed him in 38 at-bats. The Mets have a 368 average against him, 1223 OPS, 5 strikeouts, 14 walks, although 12 of them are Juan Soto. But if you want a player prop here, Juan Soto demolishes him. Some of those are probably from back when Soto was on the Yankees. He's 8 for 17 off him with 12 walks and 2 strikeouts. So if you want hits plus runs plus RBIs, he might be a way to look. Lindor also has good numbers off him. So I can't back Gausman here, man. I still lean to the under. I mean, I think that's still the way I would probably play this game, but the money doesn't agree with it. 54% of tickets on the under, 95% of the cash on the over. Totals at 8 or 7.5 here. So the odds makers still telling you they think it's going to be a low-scoring game here. I think things mostly still line up for an under. I would also agree with the Mets here. Toronto's minus 120 here. I think McClain is still kind of the under the radar of these two pitchers because he's a lot less known than Gaussman. Even though Gaussman hasn't pitched well recently, Toronto's got 70% of the tickets on them. Public is avoiding the Mets because their record sucks, but the Mets have 69% of the cash on them. So the strongest market read in this game actually does look like it's the Mets, also because I happen to agree with that as well. If you play the Mets here, I think you're getting a team that's kind of in a bounce-back spot, probably a team that's a bit undervalued. You get the better starter, I think, and the one who has the better matchup, and you get the better bullpen. So I do agree with the Mets in that game as well. Garrett, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Don't play the under in every game, man. No, I mean, there has to be a reasoning behind it. You can't just blindly do that, even though if you do, you're probably going to win more than you're probably going to win more of those plays than you lose, but it might not be enough to overcome the vig. The odds makers know what they're doing, man. Also, I still don't have a voice. My voice is really getting out of control here. Maybe I need to just, if there's a way that I can kind of talk more lightly, I don't know. Seems like I can't do it, man. Washington at Boston here. The Red Sox, they were in a bad spot yesterday, dude, and they still won. Obviously I talk about all these games, but the Red Sox yesterday, they were coming off that huge weekend sweep of the Yankees, plus the night game, a dramatic finish in that game. Horrible spot for the Red Sox yesterday, but the pitching matchup still favored the Red Sox. So one thing I forgot to mention, by the way, is that Mikolas for Washington, a lot of times they put an opener in front of him. They actually did not do that yesterday, and they let him just go 7 innings yesterday. He wasn't particularly good, though. He got outpitched by Suarez, so that was the thing. Like, the Red Sox had a big matchup edge in the game yesterday, so the Red Sox were able to get the win anyway in a bad spot. I think this matchup edge is actually less in favor of the Red Sox. I think it probably is still in favor of the Red Sox a bit, but not as much. Red Sox do have the better bullpen. They did use 3 relief pitchers yesterday, although they had to give Chapman a break yesterday. Even though I think it was a save situation. They were up 3. Washington only used 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday. So they used Mikolas for most of the game to save the rest of their bullpen. So that will help. But Red Sox are the 4th-ranked bullpen here. They have the 3rd best ERA right now, I believe. And Washington's bullpen's really bad, 26th. So Red Sox have the better bullpen here. Washington has the better offense, though. Washington's ranked 5th, tied with the White Sox. Red Sox 25th. Red Sox offense has been a little bit better recently, but still not good. They're having to go up against Cade Cavalli, who he is not one of the worst pitchers on Washington. He's actually not that bad, in my opinion. He's a little bit under the radar. He's got a 4 ERA, although his whip is not very good, 1.43. I'm not going to say he's good necessarily, but I don't think he's that bad. He is a little bit worse on the road, though, 4.46 road ERA. He was good in his last start, though, at home against Philadelphia. He held them to 2 runs in 6 innings. Pretty good stuff there from him, and he's actually been decent this month. His walk rate's still been a little bit high. Hit rate's still been a little bit high, but he's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in all of his starts. Actually going all the way back through the previous month. Actually, all season, believe it or not. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only twice all season, although granted, a few of these starts didn't last very long. But his numbers are not as bad as you might think. His hit rate is too high, but that's actually his worst attribute, is he's too hittable. He's got a decent walk rate, believe it or not, and his strikeout rate is actually high, so he does have the ability to strike out guys at the major league level, so I don't think he's that bad. He's facing an offense that's still very questionable in the Red Sox here, and the Red Sox have not hit well at home generally this year, although they do seem to be turning it around a little bit, but they also have not faced Cavalli before, so the Red Sox might struggle to figure him out early on because that's how it goes with young pitchers that are unfamiliar to the opposing offenses. If the pitcher is good, and I know I just said I don't know if he's necessarily good, but I think he might be good enough to qualify for that, unfamiliarity being an advantage for him. The unfamiliarity goes both ways here because Connolly Early is pitching for the Red Sox, and pretty sure Washington has never faced him before. He's got a 3.59 ERA. His whip is a little bit high right now, 1.25. Early hasn't been as good at home, though, at Fenway. It is a more hitter-friendly park. 4.57 home ERA, so he's not in the better of his home road splits here. He was really good in his last 2 starts, though. One was here at home against the Yankees. He got up for that game. He pitched really well. Went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, won the game. That was during that sweep, of course. That was the first game of that weekend sweep. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk from early there. Over the last 2 starts, he's got 16 strikeouts and 3 walks. Pretty solid stuff there. One was on the road against Seattle, though, and that's a much more pitcher-friendly environment there. Maybe he is in a letdown spot after a huge start against the Yankees. I don't know exactly. But he's also not bad, and he's got unfamiliarity here. Early, he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is his worst number. His walk rate's too high. He is a little bit home run heavy, too, so that's not great, although he's not really that fly ball heavy, so the home run number is a little bit odd. His strikeout rate is pretty decent, and it's gotten better over his last couple starts, over 1 per inning on the season. And like I said, Washington's never faced him before, so that is an extra advantage to him there a little bit. I think this game could be an under, perhaps. The money looks like it's backing the over. What else is new? Total's 9, which is really, really high. That doesn't totally make sense to me. 64% of tickets on the under, 78% of the cash on the over. Washington does play a lot of over games, though, and they do hit better on the road. So there are some kind of negatives there for the Red Sox pitching here, but the Red Sox are getting the money, though. The Red Sox are minus 130 something here. Odds makers consider them to be the better overall team. 80% of the tickets, 88% of the cash on the Red Sox here. Or at least they consider the Red Sox to have the better starting pitcher here. But yeah, I think the Red Sox, as I've been saying, they're not as bad as their record makes them look. And I think Washington might not be as good as their record looks. But I don't have a good feel for this game, really. But yes, 80% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the Red Sox. I don't know if I love the Red Sox here, really, though. I think if you play Washington or if you play the under, though, I think a first 5 makes more sense because you don't want to deal with Washington's bullpen. So I think under first 5 might be the best approach in this game, believe it or not, but it's not a game that I'm touching. St. Louis and Atlanta. So we have 2 games that involve teams that were off yesterday, or maybe 3. I think 2, and this is one of them. These 2 teams did not play yesterday. Atlanta is returning home from the Pacific Coast, though, and you know I talk about that. When a team is crossing the country and they've been off for a week, it's a negative spot. I know they were bad on the road trip, but the public's instinct is going to be, like, their immediate reaction is going to be, oh, well, Atlanta's a good team. They're back at home. They're going to bounce back now that they're back at home. I don't see things that way, as you know, if you listen to me. I think the return home spot is bad, and if you're having to readapt to the time zone, to a time zone that's 3 time zones different, I don't think it's a good spot. I think you have stuff to do back at home when you've been home for a while. St. Louis is kind of an overlookable team. Could be a distracted spot for Atlanta here. Having to travel cross country could hurt them a little bit too. Spot definitely favors St. Louis here. St. Louis is starting a road trip, so they're only having to travel 1 time zone over. And they ended not a long losing streak, but they had a 4-game losing streak they ended with their win over Miami 2 days ago. So that's a decent spot for St. Louis because they ended that negative momentum. Now they get to carry that new momentum out on the road with them. So situation favors St. Louis here. Problem is their pitcher sucks in this game, so I can't back St. Louis. Even though I'll love a situation, bullpens obviously didn't get used yesterday. I'll love a situation, but still not play it in baseball. You know what I mean? Like, I'll play the situation in most other sports, but not in baseball because the starting pitcher just affects the game too much still. Bullpen-wise, yeah, I mean, the Braves are still the best bullpen in baseball, so they do have a bullpen edge here. St. Louis is 21st. They have not been great, although I think they're a little bit better than that, but not great. The Braves have really fallen off offensively recently. They're down to 14th on offense, and they haven't been as good at home on offense either, so that's not great. St. Louis is right behind them now at 15th, even though the Braves do probably still have the better offense here. Matthew Liberatore is pitching for St. Louis, which is why I can't back them here because he sucks. 5.56 ERA, 1.58 whip, not something I want to get behind. Even worse on the road, 6 road ERA. I can't do it, man. He's been awful recently. He's allowed 4 or more runs in his last 3 outings. Failed to make it 5 innings in 2 of them. He is not in good form right now at all. Very high hit rate on the season. He's allowed a lot of home runs, too. This is not good. His walk rate is slightly high as well, and his strikeout rate is very mediocre. Not a lot to like here from him. His numbers against the Braves are kind of average, really. 250 batting average allowed, 783 OPS is a little bit high. 32 at-bats, 8.3 strikeout walk ratio. So his numbers are not as bad as you would think against the Braves, but I don't think he's backable. Like, I don't really think he's going to do that well. Braves are trash. I don't trust you on that. No way. Liberatore, his numbers suggest that he's not going to do well here, even though his matchup numbers are not that bad, but all the rest of his numbers, horrible form right now, horrible on the road. I don't like that at all. Martín Pérez is pitching for the Braves. He is starting to regress a little bit, and he's been pitching well, though, for the most part for the Braves. Had a bad start last time out, though. He's got a 3 ERA, 1.13 whip. Pretty good here, especially for a 35-year-old journeyman pitcher that just throws junk. What happened to Jansen junk, by the way? Is he ever coming back? Pérez has been good at home, 1.64 home ERA, so he's in the better of his home road splits here. Wasn't good last time out, like I said, and it is a red flag because that was on the road against San Diego. Very bad offense, very pitcher-friendly environment, and he had one of his worst starts of the season. Only made it 4 innings, was extremely inefficient with his pitches, walked 4 guys. That's not good stuff. Gave up 3 earned runs, but he was pitching well before that, so you could make the argument that it's a little bit fluky. He's not going too deep into most of his outings, but he is keeping his team in every game. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in every start this season. Low hit rate. So even though he's a guy that pitches to contact, he's not giving up hits, which is kind of crazy. His walk rate is reasonable enough. His strikeout rate is low, though. He also has not been fly ball heavy, which is good. When you pitch to contact, you want more guys to hit the balls into the ground, you know what I mean? Keeping the ball in the infield will help, especially if you have good fielding infielders. So overall, not bad for Pérez. And he's facing a St. Louis lineup that I don't think is that good. They also have not hit Pérez that well. They have 6 hitters who faced him, 21 at-bats. They have 0 extra base hits against him, 238 average, 542 OPS, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. It's a very low strikeout rate there, but the rest of the numbers look pretty good. So I think the Braves do have a matchup advantage here. I don't think I could back them in the return home spot. I mean, it's a bad situational spot. So the situation favors St. Louis, but the matchup favors Atlanta. Like, I think Atlanta has the better pitching across the board here. Atlanta's around minus 150 here. You're paying a price for sure for Atlanta here. I don't know if it's completely warranted, especially in a bad spot, which the odds makers don't really take into account the spot like that. You know what I mean? They're mostly taking into account the matchup. So maybe I should focus on situations a little bit more because you can find an edge there. But the matchup still matters, though, man. Something tells me the Braves are probably going to win this game, even though I know how bad the situation is. But the matchup just it's too much in favor of the Braves for me here, man. Again, maybe not enough to warrant that price, but I don't really see the Braves actually losing the game. I guess it wouldn't shock me if they did because the situation's bad, but there's not a lot to like about how St. Louis matches up here. The money's also backing the over. The total's at 9.5. I'm not sure about the over, man. I mean, this game looks a little bit more under conducive to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, you have at least one really good bullpen here. You could cut out the bullpens, too, just to avoid St. Louis's bullpen. Liberatore at least doesn't have horrible matchup numbers here, and Pérez has pretty good ones. So, I don't know. Next game up is Cincinnati and the Brewers, as I can't get back to my window here. Brewers won the game yesterday 5-3. I think they won against Cincinnati's bullpen, though. I think Cincinnati was winning the game early yesterday, and their bullpen blew it, which is, Cincinnati's bullpen blowing games is expected. You're a Braves fan, but that makes you biased. So I do not trust people who are fans of a specific team to comment on that particular team because their bias gets in the way of what they think. I try to throw my bias out with Boston teams, man. Hopefully I do a good job with it, but I don't know. It's hard to do it. Although my bias tends to always be negative because I'm a pessimist. Let me see here. What am I talking? Oh, yeah, Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Yeah, Cincinnati's bullpen is ass. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen. They blew the game yesterday. Milwaukee's bullpen is pretty good. They used 3 guys. They've used Miguel 3 of the last 4 days, so he's their closer. He's probably not available today. So the Brewers are going to need to have the lead earlier in the game so they don't have to use him. Brewers are 14th in bullpen, pretty good. Cincinnati, not good at 28th. Although they're not one of the bullpens that has a 5+ ERA, but they're pretty close. Milwaukee, number 10 in offense. Cincinnati, 23rd. So Cincinnati has not been good offensively recently. Cincinnati's going with Rhett Lowder, who is not that good. 4.81 ERA, 1.47 whip, not good. He's way worse on the road, which doesn't make sense to me because Cincinnati is a hitter-friendly ballpark. But 6 road ERA, that's not good. Lowder, I mean, he's been pretty mediocre over his recent outings here. Not awful, but not going that deep into these games. He's kept his team kind of in the games, but he's not very good. His hit rate is low, so at least there's that, but his walk rate is way too high. He's walking 1 guy every 2 innings. He can't do that. His strikeout rate is pretty low as well. Not a lot to like, really, here. Milwaukee does hit him okay. 273 average, 853 OPS, 33 at-bats, 9-5 strikeout walk ratio. I can't trust Lowder here. Brandon Sproat is pitching for the Brewers here. Sproat has actually been somewhat okay recently. Dude, he's a guy that does have some talent, and maybe it's starting to show a little bit. I think he's a guy who's better than his numbers suggest. He's got a 5.43 ERA, 1.35 whip, which I know doesn't look good. He's also not good at home, 6.75 home ERA. So there are definitely some things that do look like this game could be an over. He was awesome last time out in Cincinnati, though. He went 6 innings and shut them out, gave up 1 hit, 10 strikeouts, no walks. That was one of his best outings of his career, and he only threw 80 pitches, so he was pretty efficient as well in that game. That's a good sign that maybe he is starting to pitch a little bit better here. He's actually been pretty good in 2 of his last 3 outings, and the other one was at the A's stadium, and he actually didn't embarrass himself at Colorado either. So he pitched in 2 hitter-friendly environments and pitch well. So he is actually pitching a little bit better here. Although he wasn't good at home against Cleveland, which I guess is not a good sign. That was his 1 home game this month against a weak offense. He didn't pitch well there. He's got a pretty decent hit rate here. His walk rate is his one issue. His walk rate is way too high. His strikeout rate is too high as well. His strikeout rate is high as well, is what I mean to say. So that's good, obviously. So Sproat does have the ability to strike guys out at the major league level, which is good. Shows you that he does have talent. And he's got good numbers against the Reds. I know most of it was that 1 game, but it's 28 at-bats. They've all faced him before. 14 strikeouts, 3 walks, only 1 extra base hit, which is a double from De La Cruz, who is back from being injured. But they have a 107 average and 336 OPS against him, so he's dominated them in that short sample size. Although, granted, he might do worse here. I mean, it's hard for him to do better than what he did last time out. He might do a little bit worse here because they just saw him. But I think he actually should pitch well here. So I think the Brewers do have the advantage in this game. Probably that's the way I'd be looking here. I don't really want to do it, and you're laying a lot, man. You're laying minus 170 something here with Sproat on the mound. I mean, I don't know. And they're public. 89% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on Milwaukee. It's questionable. I mean, that price is pretty questionable, but I think Milwaukee does have the advantage pretty much throughout this game, starting pitching, bullpen, and offense. So there is somewhat of a reason why they're favored like that. Cincinnati is just not considered to be a good team. The money is also backing the over. 52% of tickets on the over and 89% of the cash on the over. I could see it, but I don't really know if I want to fade Sproat right now. I mean, I think you could go Milwaukee over their team total. if you want to just take Sproat kind of out of the equation there, maybe Milwaukee will score and just get over their own team total here. Like, you'll probably need them to score about 5, which is kind of reasonable there. So that is definitely an approach. And with that one, you get Cincinnati's bullpen to get shelled, so that helps you out. If you go Milwaukee over team total, it makes sense. Full game over does make some sense. I mean, I don't totally disagree with that, but I don't know, man. I think Milwaukee might, however they do it, I think they probably are going to win that game, though. You wouldn't lay the minus 150. You like what? Yeah, I mean, I said that too. Like, I think the price is, probably too high, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm just saying that I think bias gets in the way sometimes too. Tampa Bay and Kansas City, wherever Zach is right now. Kansas City just played Tampa Bay on the road in a 4-game series, and they split that series 2-2 with Tampa Bay winning the last 2 of those. So maybe Kansas City's in a little bit of a revenge spot here after that, but they're returning home from a road trip, and I don't like that. Even though they finished the road trip in Chicago at the White Sox, so that last travel leg is not very long for them, but still it's a return home spot. I always talk about it. When a team returns home from the road, they got to get back to home life. It could be a distraction. They might not overlook Tampa, though, because Tampa's got one of the best I think they have the best record in the American League because they overtook the Yankees again thanks to the Red Sox. Or thanks to the Yankees sucking in that series, if that's the way you want to look at it. Maybe that is the better way to look at it because the Red Sox are not very good. But yeah, whatever. It's a bad spot for Kansas City, though, in the return home spot, but they may not fully overlook Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is also not good on the road. As good as their record is, Tampa Bay's been awesome at home, and they've been awful on the road. 17-21 on the road. That is not good. Kansas City is below 500 at home, though, but they're below 500 everywhere. Tampa Bay is on a 5-game win streak right now. They just swept Arizona. They had yesterday off. They're starting a road trip. A lot of times you're focused to start the road trip, But again, Kansas City might be focused just because they did lose the last 2 to Tampa Bay not long ago, and Tampa Bay does have a good record. So keeping all that in mind, the situation does still favor Tampa Bay a little bit, though. The pitching matchup, I think, probably actually does favor Kansas City, though. Not the bullpen, though. Kansas City is dead last in bullpen. I think their bullpen is probably better than Minnesota's, but they are a bad bullpen. Really, really bad. One of the worst, too, I would say. And Tampa Bay's bullpen is actually not that good, although they're ranked 11th. Their ERA is in the mid-4s, so I do not consider them to be that good. Kind of a mediocre-ish bullpen. Tampa Bay, 11th in offense. Kansas City 21st. So Kansas City not that good offensively, although they're better at home, especially because they moved the walls in this year at Kauffman Stadium. And we do have a high total in this game. Griffin Jax is pitching for Tampa Bay. He's kind of a converted reliever, but they've been letting him go like a starter's workload. You do have to be aware that they might put an opener in front of him, but I think they've just been letting him start recently, though. He's made 11 starts, so it is probably likely he is going to start again. But just be aware they might put an opener in front of him. Jax has a good ERA, 3.33, but his whip is not that good, 1.31. He is a little bit better on the road, 2.96 road ERA. He's mostly pitched well. His last 4 starts, he's only allowed 2 runs total, and he's pitched 3 5-inning shutouts over that span. So they're pretty much having him go exactly 5 innings every outing and then taking him out, including last start against Kansas City where he allowed 2 unearned runs in that game, so my mistake there. But he went 5 innings, allowed no earned runs against Kansas City last time out. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. That was at home. But he is better on the road. Do I think he'll do that well again? Probably not, but he pitched well against Kansas City the last time. But again, Kansas City does hit better at home, so they might hit him better here. But Jax has actually been pretty good this month. 26-5 strikeout walk ratio in 24 innings. That's pretty good command there. Overall, he's got a pretty low hit rate, although a lot of this was pitching as a relief pitcher early in the season. His walk rate is too high, and his strikeout rate is actually pretty decent. So I don't know. I mean, he's not awful. He's at least serviceable. His numbers against Kansas City, they actually don't hit him well. They have a 194 average against him, 528 OPS, 62 at bats, 15 to 8 strikeout walk ratio, but 5 of the walks are Witt Jr. So Kansas City really hasn't hit him well. And that includes that last outing from him, but it includes more than just that. So maybe Jax does line up okay here. Kansas City's going with Noah Cameron. You know, I do think Noah Cameron's pretty good, although his numbers are not great here. 4.5 ERA, 1.33 whip. He was not good at the beginning of the season this year. He was good last year, though. I think he's a decent pitcher. He's not been as good at home this year, though. 4.61 ERA, so moving the walls and probably hurt him a little bit. He was not as good in his last start at Tampa. He allowed 5 runs in 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 walks, so he put a lot of guys on base there. That was not a good outing from him. 5 strikeouts there. He was pitching pretty well for a few starts prior to that, but his last 3 starts have all kind of been questionable, so he is kind of falling out of form again here, it looks like, which makes me not really want to back him, although his numbers overall this month, 27 to 5 strikeout walk ratio. That is pretty good. His overall numbers, his hit rate is too high. His walk rate's not actually that bad, and his strikeout rate is okay. But he's allowed too many hits. He is fly ball heavy too, but he hasn't allowed that many home runs. So somehow that hasn't translated into him allowing a lot of home runs. So that's at least good for him. Against Tampa Bay, he does actually have good numbers, even though he wasn't good last time out. 34 at bats, 235 average allowed, 657 OPS, 7 to 5 strikeout walk ratio. So Cameron does match up okay here. I think this game looks like a first 5 under, dude. Full game, obviously, I would not do that because these pitchers, the bullpens are awful. The money's backing the over. What else is new? 64% of tickets on the under, 72% of the cash on the over. 9.5 or 10 is the total in the game. I think first 5 could go under, though. I think both pitchers might be a little bit under the radar. They both have pretty good matchup numbers here, so first 5 under, I think, makes some sense to me there. You're getting a decent number on it, most likely. It's probably like 5.5. So 75% of tickets, 65% of the cash on Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay is a very public side. Even though I did say Kansas City's in a bad spot, they're returning home from the road, so I don't really want to back Kansas City. I don't like Cameron's current form either, but the money seems to be backing Kansas City here as kind of an undervalued commodity here at home. Part of it is probably that Tampa Bay does struggle on the road. Cameron, you could make the argument he is better than Jax, but, he's the younger pitcher with more upside. So Tampa Bay laying minus 120 on the road. I think the argument is there's some value on Kansas City as a home underdog. If you're going to play Kansas City, you got to do it first 5, though. I still don't want to do it in a return home spot and whatever, all the things that I mentioned. But if you do play Kansas City, make it a first 5 play. You do not want to have that bullpen in your pocket. That could blow the game for you. So I'm going to be right back. I'll talk about the rest of these games. I think I have 2 more baseball plays here somewhere. I think I remember what they are. I better. And then I'm going to give out a play in the WNBA. So I'm going to have a cup play, but it's the WNBA Cup, not the World Cup. World Cup, I almost put one of the games today on my card. It's close, which I'll talk about as well, but I'll be right back. Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. Yes. All right. Rest of these games here. San Diego and the Cubs, I think, is next. Oh, I have 6 games left. I thought I had 5 left. My mistake. Oh, whatever. All right. The Cubs, what was about the hour mark? Cubs won the game 3-2 yesterday. Griffin Canning pitched again in that game. He wasn't good, even though he didn't give up that many runs. He didn't last very long. This game, yeah, I mean, I don't like the pitching in this game, and this game looks, the odds makers are telling you there's wind blowing out in Wrigley here, too. Cubs used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. San Diego used a lot. They used 5, including Mason Miller, but he only threw 7 pitches, and he hadn't pitched in days. So Miller is probably available again here. San Diego, I still think they're the second best bullpen, although they're ranked a little bit behind a couple other teams here, Red Sox, Yankees. San Diego's ranked 7th in WHIP, I think 5th maybe in ERA right now, or 4th. But I think they're the second best bullpen behind the Braves. I forget what other team we're even talking. Oh, the Cubs. Yeah, the Cubs are an okay bullpen. They're 10th, but San Diego's the better bullpen. Offensively, the Cubs are obviously the better team. They're tied in 7th with the A's. San Diego's dead last, 30th. Not good. J.P. Sears is getting the start for San Diego. He came back, made his first start with San Diego last time out, and he was okay against Atlanta. So that's a decent sign, even though that was at home. San Diego, very pitcher-friendly. Atlanta struggling on offense recently, but Sears was good in that game against a pretty good offense. Went 5 2/3, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. So that gives him a 3.18 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. That's not bad. Him being on San Diego might help him out because I think he was on the A's. So going for pitching in the A's stadium to pitching in San Diego Stadium, that should help him. However, he's not going to be in San Diego here. He's having to pitch in Wrigley in a wind-blowing out environment, and that might not be good. If you look at his overall numbers, you want to see like how fly ball heavy he is, right? So you look at his numbers last year. Yeah, he was an extreme fly ball pitcher. He gave up a ton of home runs last year, so that is not good. I know some of it was in the A's team. Oh, actually, he did pitch with San Diego at the end of the year last year. My mistake. He made 4 starts with them last year, and he was mediocre. So my mistake. Or maybe 5 starts with them, whatever it was. Sears, there are some things to worry about here, man, because Sears is kind of a home run conducive pitcher, and he's pitching in a very home run conducive environment today. Cubs have 2 guys who have faced him, Bregman and Kelly, and they've definitely knocked him around in 22 at-bats, 409 average, 1298 OPS, 1 strikeout, 3 walks. Most of the damage from Bregman, 20 of the at-bats, but Kelly is 2 for 2 off him too. So Sears doesn't look like he matches up well here, even though the Cubs have a lot of guys that haven't faced him before, but this is definitely not a good environment for Sears here, in my opinion. He's too fly ball heavy. As you can see, the really high total today means the wind is blowing out in Wrigley again. The Cubs are going with Matthew Boyd, who came back from injury last time out. I don't know what to think about Boyd, man, because he pitched really well the last couple of seasons, and it seemed like it came from out of nowhere, even though he was like in his mid-30s. Usually you don't see that happen, like a guy that's been mediocre throughout their career, and then all of a sudden they're really good. This year, though, Boyd has not been very good. 5.02 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. Now, I know he didn't pitch that long before he got hurt earlier in the season. He's been slightly better at home, 4.95 home ERA. Not much better, though. But, yeah, he's only made like 6 starts this season, but he wasn't even good when he came back. It looks like he was good because he went 4 2/3 scoreless innings against the Mets, but he gave up 4 hits, 4 walks in 4 2/3 innings and 4 strikeouts. He obviously got really lucky that he did not give up any runs there. You can't put 8 guys on base in 4 2/3 innings, man. So that does not impress me against a Mets lineup that isn't really that good. I'm not really wanting to back Boyd here. He did pitch well in his last start before he got injured, but he wasn't very good at all prior to that. He does have a high strikeout rate. I'll give him that. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate is too high, though. So even though the strikeouts are good, he's got to fix some things right now. And it might not happen against San Diego, even though they're not a good offense. Believe it or not, they hit him okay. And we're talking about, again, a high total Wrigley game here. 294 batting average allowed, 776 OPS, not great. 85 at bats. So San Diego's been able to hit him. 16-6 strikeout walk ratio. So I think this game does look like an over. I know you're going to have to go over a huge total here. And the game went way under yesterday. Yesterday was also a wind blowing out Wrigley game. It was another game with like an 11 total yesterday, and the game landed 5. And I know we're talking about one really weak offense here, but I think they might be able to put some runs up here. San Diego's offensive numbers also get kind of, they all get kind of taken down by the stadium that they pitch into, even though they haven't been good, but still. The total's at 11 here. Money is all over the over, though. 57% of tickets on the under, 78% of the cash on the over. Again, I agree. I lean over here. The money's backing San Diego, which seems insane to me. The money line is like minus 150 something on the Cubs here, minus 157. 73% of the tickets on them, 90% of the cash on San Diego. I don't really fully understand why. I mean, Sears doesn't seem very backable to me here. So, not really sure what's going on with that other than maybe it's just a value play. Oh, the Cubs are just favored by too much. Boyd is getting overrated in the market. Maybe that's it. But I think the over is the way to look at that game. You need a lot of runs, but that's the way I would lean there. Both teams, I think, can contribute in that one. Okay. Next game up, we're going to give out a play, and it's another one that seems way too obvious. But maybe the obvious way to do this for maybe the bettors who are not well versed in this is to play the full game, because the price is way better on the full game on Minnesota, but there's a reason for that. Minnesota's bullpen is an absolute disaster. So I'm going to take Minnesota first 5 here on the money line. I know you have to pay minus 135 for this. I found that at, I forget which book. Might have been the M Lion book. I forget which one. I think you can find a price that's similar to that out there. Obviously, if you want Minnesota full game, you're going to pay much less of a price for that because their bullpen sucks. They're at minus 115 on the full game, basically. So if you want to do that and get the price down and try to dodge their bullpen, you could do that. They're playing Houston. Houston's bullpen's not good. Now, Houston is in a bounce-back spot, technically, because they returned home from the road and they lost yesterday 5-4. So a lot of times the team will bounce back in a spot like that. But, it's a situation that does work. But this pitching matchup looks like it is just completely one way to me. It looks like a huge starting pitching advantage for Minnesota here. So I'm not going to put much weight into that, into the situation, As far as the bullpens, like I said, we're excluding Minnesota. They're second to last in bullpen whip, but their ERA is 5.5. Come on, man. This is a horrific bullpen. We're not going to play their bullpen. Houston's bullpen hasn't been good. They're at 20th, but they've been better over the past, few weeks. So Houston is getting better in their bullpen. So they do have a bullpen advantage here. Both offenses have been all right. Minnesota's 9th. Houston has dropped off a little bit to 12th, tied with the Giants, although you know what I think about the Giants offense. I think they're actually not good. But we're going to back Joe Ryan here, man. He's clearly the better pitcher here. Joe Ryan, he's the Twins' ace, 3.18 ERA, 1.03 whip. That's good. He's actually slightly better on the road, 3.15 road ERA, but very similar home road numbers. He's pitched really well this month. He's got a 38-5 strikeout walk ratio in 29 innings this month. He's been slightly too hittable, 31 hits allowed. Some of that came in that last outing against the Dodgers, but he still had 9 strikeouts and 1 walk in that game in 6 innings against the best offense in baseball. So that still was not a bad outing from him. Joe Ryan's, he's been good all season. What else do you want, right? He gave up 5 runs in one early season outing against Kansas City. He's allowed 4 or fewer in every other start besides that. He's got a low hit rate on the season, so I'm not too worried that his hit rate's gone up a little bit recently. And again, some of it was that Dodger game. He's got a low walk rate, high strikeout rate, a lot to like here with Joe Ryan. He's got a high fly ball rate, I know, but he doesn't really allow that many home runs, so it doesn't really translate into the home runs. And he does really well against the Astros. He has 113 at-bats against them. So this is a situation where you have a huge sample size, but also dominant numbers. 177 batting average allowed, 590 OPS, 43-6 strikeout walk ratio. Is that good? Yeah. So Houston has seen a ton of Joe Ryan, and they have not hit him well at all. So he's got some really, really good numbers against Houston. We're going to back that, and we're going to fade Mike Burroughs, who is not good. Pitching for Houston here, 5.48 ERA, 1.5 whip. That is not good. He's been atrocious at home. 7.05 home ERA. His home run rate goes way up at home. His opponent batting average 311 at home. He's all mixed up. He doesn't know what to do. Next thing you turn around and the ball's flying out of the yard, even though it doesn't rhyme, whatever. I got to find a way to rhyme that. But yeah, he sucks at home. His home road splits are very much against him at home here. Burroughs was good last time out against Toronto. I'll give him that. But Toronto, not a good offense. That was on the road where Burroughs is better. I'm not going to put much weight into that outing because he sucked in his recent outings before that one. And they gave him like a bullpen outing against Cleveland. I don't know if they think that's going to fix him or what. I don't think it will. I know he pitched well in that one start after that, but I think it is kind of an outlier. He's not good. He's given up a high hit rate here. He's got a high walk rate pretty much too. His home run rate is really high too, and his strikeout rate is low. There's not a lot to like here at all. I think we have a huge starting pitching edge with the Twins here. Burroughs also has not been good against the Twins in 27 at-bats. They've basically all faced him before. 333 average, 1215 OPS, 4-5 strikeout walk ratio. None of that is good at all. We'll take the Twins in the first 5 here. And I know, yeah, it's a little bit juicy. It has to be with a matchup like this, but I think they have the matchup edge. The money is agreeing with me on this, finally. We get agreement. 57% of tickets, 84% of the cash on Minnesota. Yes, that's on the full game, and they are a shorter price in the full game, minus 112 or so. If you want to do that, and, you know, if you hope that Joe Ryan goes deeper than the first 5, whatever, and maybe that will happen, right? Like, Burroughs could be awful enough that Houston has to go to their bullpen early, and that will kind of negate the bullpens a little bit, but I'm not going to back Minnesota's bullpen, so I'll pay the extra juice to just focus on where I think we have the biggest edge, which is in the first 5 there, so that's a play for me. All right, Miami and Colorado. God, this game went way over the total yesterday. 10-7 win for Miami yesterday. Not good pitching going on there. I think Alcantara, I guess, wasn't very good in that game. I don't know what happened there. Miami used 3 relief pitchers in that game. Their bullpen is way better than Colorado's, though, which is probably part of the reason they won. Colorado used 3 relief pitchers. Miami is number 2 in bullpen. I don't think they're quite that good, but they're a pretty good bullpen. Colorado is not good at 27th, and they're one of the 4 bullpens with a 5+ ERA, along with Washington, Minnesota, and Kansas City, of course. Offensively, Colorado's been good recently. They're number 4 against. They've been able to hit pretty well recently. They're the better offense here. Miami's ranked 16th, tied with the Angels. Yuri Pérez, though, pitching for Miami. I like Pérez. I think he's good. He's got a 4.41 ERA, but his whip is pretty good, or not too bad, 1.22, which I think means his ERA should be a little bit better than it is. He's still young. He's got a really, really crazy windup, and he's really tall, and he does strike a lot of guys out usually. But there are some concerns here. I mean, he's pitching in Coors Field. He's bad on the road, 6.04 road ERA, so that's not a good sign. He came back from injury last time out, so they gave him kind of a shorter start against Texas, but he wasn't that good. He only had 1 strikeout in 4 2/3 innings. He held them to 1 run, and they wound up winning the game, but he was kind of questionable in that start against a not great Texas offense. But they're working him back in. You know, I mean, he'd been gone for a month, so it's understandable. I think he'll pitch more innings in this game today. They'll ramp him back up probably. over the course of the season, low hit rate, high strikeout rate, like I said, but he is kind of a fly ball pitcher. He's allowed some home runs, so that's not good for pitching at Coors Field. His walk number's a little bit high, too, but not terrible. But yeah, Coors Field might not be the best environment for him because he is a fly ball pitcher, so that's not exactly great. However, he does have good numbers against the Rockies in 42 at-bats, 167 batting average, 651 OPS, 14-3 strikeout walk ratio against them. So matchup does look okay for him, although the stadium doesn't look that good. Tanner Gordon is pitching for the Rockies. He's coming back from the injured list here. He hasn't been very good, not that any Colorado pitcher is. 6.37 ERA, 1.56 whip. Not great. He's been really bad in Coors Field this year, 9.92 home ERA. That is not good. He's a pretty heavy fly ball pitcher as well. He's allowed a decent amount of home runs here. That's not good. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate is actually good. His walk rate is actually low, and his strikeout rate is okay. So, I mean, some of these guys, man, if you put him in like some other stadium, he'd be better, but he's been really bad, and Colorado's lost every game that he's appeared in this season. Is that good? He's appeared in 9 games this season, and Colorado has been the loser in every one of those games. Yeah, that's not good. You know, and he does not have the style that you want in Coors Field. He gives up way too many fly balls. His numbers against Miami are actually good, though, in 11 at-bats. They only have 4 guys who have faced him, so it is a small sample. The one extra base hits a home run from Otto Lopez. 182 batting average allowed, 636 OPS, 3.0 strikeout walk ratio. I don't know what to do with this game, man, because both pitchers look like they could struggle in this stadium because they both give up too many fly balls. But they both have good matchup numbers, so what do we do with that? Well, I'm going to pass the game because I don't know which one of those things is going to win out here. You know what I mean? You know this is going to be a high total because it's Coors Field, and, you know, it's not like we have exactly an elite pitching matchup here, although I think Pérez is generally the better of these two pitchers, though. He's got more talent for sure. He's the younger guy with the higher ceiling. The money is actually backing the under. 52% of tickets on the over, 59% of the cash on the under. Totals at 11.5. If you go under, I think you should go first 5, though, because Colorado's bullpen is pretty much a disaster. So you could focus on the starting pitching and hope the matchup numbers will get you there. It's possible. I mean, you'll be looking at probably like a 6 on that number there, maybe 5.5. It's probably 6. I wouldn't really disagree with Miami either. I mean, I know it seems too easy. They're like minus 140 something here. They're public, 82% of the tickets, but 94% of the cash also on Miami. I think Miami has the better starter here. They definitely have the better bullpen here. Miami makes some sense in that game, but, you know, it also kind of seems too easy. No, I'm not making any World Cup plays today. I'm done with the World Cup after I was 5-1, and I'm 5-2 after yesterday's horse shit. I'm not going to make a play today. Pérez, he's kind of a roller coaster. Like, he's really good sometimes, and he's really bad other times. Like, I don't know. His numbers last year I don't think were that good. Actually, his whip was pretty good, but his ERA wasn't. His whip over his career is actually good, 1.12, and his ERA is below 4. But his ERA last year landed above 4. But yeah, you're right. He was pretty good last year. Better than his ERA would suggest. Next game up is my last play of the day. Anaheim at Seattle. It's my last, I have a WNBA play. This is my last baseball play. Anaheim at Seattle, Soriano and Wu. You could probably guess where I'm going with this one. This is going to be a first 5 under in this game. It's in Seattle. It's a pitcher-friendly environment here. I think both starters actually line up decently in this game. We get a 4 on this at minus 118. That was, I believe, at the Lion M book as well. You might have to pay a little bit more for this, but I would say try to find the 4 out there. Even if you're paying like minus 120 or whatever for it, I think it makes sense to do it that way. Every half run matters when you're talking about a first 5 under. It's a shortened game. You know, the runs are at a premium. This game, Seattle, they returned home yesterday, and they still won, even though it was a return home spot. But I talked about that game. I told you it was a bad situation for Seattle, but they clearly had the pitching edge in the game, and that's what got it done for them, I would imagine. Seattle does have the better bullpen here. but I'm counting them out of this game. Well, I'm counting the bullpens out because of Anaheim's bullpen, not because of Seattle's. Like, if this is a different opponent for Seattle, I'd be going full game under here probably. But I'm excluding Anaheim's bullpen. That's how bad they are. Even though they're not as bad as those other bullpens I already listed. Seattle does set up pretty well bullpen-wise here, so Seattle's bullpen might do well here. Anaheim actually is rested in the bullpen at least. Both teams only used one relief pitcher yesterday, but I don't want to back Anaheim's bullpen. They're ranked 24th. Their ERA is in the mid-4s. I'm just not going to do it. Seattle, I do like their bullpen. They're ranked 17th, but as I keep saying, I think they're better than that. But they're also on my shit list because they blew the under the other day against Cleveland, which is not acceptable. Seattle's bullpen clearly should have been able to handle Cleveland enough to finish that game off, and they didn't do it. They gave up a bunch of runs to them in like the 8th inning. I'm pissed. These are offenses that haven't been great, really. Seattle's at 26th, although Seattle is getting healthier. I understand that, but I think the pitching can also just kind of counter the hitting here. Anaheim, as I said, is tied for 16th. They're a weird offense, though. Like, they don't really hit for contact that well, but they hit for power, and that's going to be kind of negated in Seattle Stadium, I think, because Seattle is a stadium that knocks down fly balls. We are going to back Jose Soriano, even though he hasn't been pitching that well recently. He's got a 3.32 ERA, and I think he's worse than that, given that his whip is 1.32. So I know we're not off to a good start here, but he's better on the road. So Soriano, you want to back him more when he's on the road. Same thing last year. Anaheim's kind of a more hitter-friendly ballpark, but yeah, he's got a 2.64 road ERA, so he's better on the road. And I know he wasn't good in his last couple starts. I get that. His last 2 road starts didn't go well, but look at what they were. One was at the A's stadium, and that was, I think that might have been in that Vegas stadium too. Oh, no, it might have been back in the A's stadium. I gave you guys an over in that game, by the way, so I'm not just going unders with Soriano on the road. I said over in that one because Soriano had bad matchup numbers there, and that's a very hitter-conducive ballpark, so we got an easy over correct in that one. But that was the reason why he sucked in that game was it was a bad matchup, and it's a bad stadium to pitch in. And then the other game he wasn't that good in on the road was against the Dodgers. So his last 2 road starts were bad, but they were against the A's and the Dodgers. So that is not what's happening here. He's facing Seattle in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. So that should alleviate those concerns quite a bit here. And his numbers against Seattle, you know what's coming. Yeah, they're not bad. 255 average allowed, 695 OPS. So he's had success against Seattle, 94 at bats. So even though they've seen a lot of him, they haven't really done that well against him. Even though I know Arozarena and Crawford both came back, and they both do have decent numbers against him. 24-10 strikeout walk ratio here. So those numbers aren't that good. He's walked too many guys there, but overall, his numbers against Seattle are pretty good. His overall numbers this year, he's got a low hit rate, but his walk rate has gotten really high. So he's got to get that under control again, literally. And his strikeout rate is good. So Soriano obviously has talent, and he pitched really well early in the season, but I knew he was going to regress to some extent. But this looks like a more favorable matchup for him, and he's in his favorable home road splits here. We're also going to back Brian Wu, who I think is better than his 4.26 ERA would suggest. I like Wu. He's a good pitcher. 1.04 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, indicates that his ERA should be lower than what it is. So we're off to a decent start there, countering what his ERA makes him look like. He's been really good at home. He's got a 2 home ERA, so we have the much better home road split for both starters here. Wu wasn't good last time out, but it was at Pittsburgh on the road. He's struggled in 3 of his recent starts, so they were all on the road. All of his bad recent starts came on the road. In fact, the last 3 times he's pitched at home, he's allowed 0 runs. In the last 20 innings that he's pitched at home, he's only allowed 8 hits over that span. He's got, what is this? I'm trying to do the math here real quick. He's got a 26-5 strikeout walk ratio, I think, or no, 26-2. 26-3, my mistake. I'm trying to do the math. Dude, actually, it goes back further than that, but yeah, dude, I'm like kind of blind here. I wonder if there's a way, can I just do this by home games only? I don't think I can filter it. But yeah, like my stroke brain. I can't really see the lines here, but yeah, 4 starts in a row, actually. He's allowed no runs. He literally is not allowed a run at home since May 1st against the Kansas City Royals, where he had some inexplicably bad start. Since then, yeah, he's gone 6, 12. Let's count this all out, man. 19, and where's the last one? 26 innings pitched, no runs allowed in those innings at home. He's given up, let's see, 6. He's only given up 9 hits over that span. The number of walks is, let's see, 1, 3, 5. 5 walks over that span, and let's see, 18 strikeouts. It's more than that, but I'm counting it out. 26 and what is that? 35 strikeouts over that span. So hopefully you guys got that. But yeah, he's been like ridiculously good at home over his last 4 home starts. So he pitches really well at home, and he's also got good numbers against Anaheim. 240 average allowed, 660 OPS, 75 at bats, 19-2 strikeout walk ratio. So yeah, those are good numbers as well. So he matches up well. I like it. I think, again, Woo's ERA does not tell you the story here, so we're going to go under in this one in the first 5. The money is back in the full game under here, which is at 7 or 7.5 here. I'm not going to disagree with the full game under as well, but I don't want Anaheim's bullpen in this thing. So 67% of tickets on the over, 69% of the cash on the under. Again, I still agree with the full game, and maybe the starters will get you deeper into the game, but I think the best edge that we have is in the first 5, especially if you find a 4 there. 83% of tickets, 88% of the cash on Seattle. So minus 180 something is the price on Seattle here. I don't disagree with Seattle. I think Woo is the better of the 2 pitchers here. Does have the better track record recently. He's been dominant at home recently, like I said. So, yeah, I wouldn't really disagree with Seattle. Also, of course, they have a much better bullpen, but you're having to pay a price for that. So I think the under first 5 is the correct approach there. Let's keep this going, man. We're already at an hour and a half and not even done with baseball. 2 games left, Dodgers and A's on ESPN Unlimited. The A's, Gage Jump actually had a bad game yesterday, so I'm glad I did not add that to my card. He didn't pitch very well in the game. You know, he wasn't going to pitch well in every game. You know, the Dodgers are a very good offense. A's were in a bad spot, in a return home spot. A's bullpen also was not helpful in the game yesterday. So, yes, the Dodgers won the game yesterday, of course. Could be a bounce back for the A's here, potentially, because when a team returns home, they don't do well. A lot of times they bounce back in the next game, but the Dodgers are obviously a force. Dodgers used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The A's have the worst bullpen, and they used 3 guys as well. Dodgers are clearly the better bullpen. They're ranked 6th, although I don't think they're quite that good. The A's are ranked 23rd, and they're one of the bullpens with a 5 ERA. In fact, I missed them because their ERA is exactly 5. It's not over 5, but that's a bad bullpen. Hitting-wise, the Dodgers are number 1. A's are tied at number 7, so we do have some offenses here that can hit. So could be a series where you're going to see some runs, especially because it's the A's stadium. So you get a lot of high-scoring games here. Justin Robleski is pitching for the Dodgers. He continues to pitch well. 2.71 ERA, 1.01 whip, even though he's not a strikeout pitcher. He pitches to contact, but his numbers still are good, and he's not putting guys on base. He's slightly worse on the road, 2.89 road ERA. This is going to be a difficult setup for him, though, of course, pitching against a good offense in a very offense-friendly stadium. Robleski, though, even though he's kind of a fly ball pitcher, he has not allowed a lot of home runs, though. So he's allowing a lot of soft contact. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. He has a low strikeout rate, too, though, like I said. But maybe the fly ball heaviness will be bad in this stadium, but it really hasn't translated to allowing a lot of home runs so far. So at least that's a decent sign for him. The A's also haven't really seen him. They have 3 hitters who have seen him. They're only 1 for 3 off him. Langoliers has a single off him, and that's it. They got 2 strikeouts and no walks against him. So he kind of has some unfamiliarity here against the A's. So that's somewhat decent, I guess, that he might be able to ride that unfamiliarity. That could give him an edge here. Jeffrey Springs is pitching for the A's. Not really having a great season here or a great time with the A's. I mean, he pitches okay on the road, but his numbers in this stadium are quite bad. He's got a 5.52 ERA overall, 1.33 whip, not great. Of course, his ERA goes up to 6.43 at home, and he's allowed a lot of home runs here. He's a home run conducive pitcher, man, which is not good. He's allowed one home run every 4 innings this year. That is really bad. 22 home runs already in 88 innings. Not good. He's got an okay-ish strikeout rate. His walk rate's not that bad. His hit rate is right at 1 per inning, so really mediocre there. But he's really fly ball heavy, and his home run rate is awful. So he does not do well in this stadium. Doesn't set up well in the stadium. Hasn't really pitched particularly well recently. His last couple starts here in this stadium were all pretty bad, so things do not look good for Springs here, really. And he's facing a very good Dodger offense. However, the Dodgers actually have not hit him well. In 39 at-bats, they have a 128 average, 453 OPS against him, 8-2 strikeout walk ratio. So what do we do with this game? I mean, obviously, I'm leaving it alone. I mean, there are arguments for the over. There are arguments for the under. The money's back in the under. 57% of tickets, 68% of the cash on the under. The total's around 11 here. If you go under, I would not go full game with it, though. You do not want the A's bullpen included in that. So first 5 under, I mean, maybe you could make the argument for it just because both pitchers might have decent matchups here. But maybe, Dodgers team total over, I think, makes some sense. I mean, you got to think the Dodgers are going to somehow get to Springs a little bit here. And then you have the A's bullpen in your back pocket to try to finish that thing off. I still don't really want to do it, though. And the money is actually backing the A's here. Dodgers, 93% of tickets, 50-50 on the cash. So pretty strong market read towards the A's right now. Dodgers are around minus 160 or so on the price here. The thought is probably just that, well, it's an A's bounce back spot. The Dodgers are probably just favored by too much, but the Dodgers still, I think, have the better starting pitcher here, the better bullpen, the better offense too. So I don't really want to go against the Dodgers there. So that's obviously a game that I'm not playing. And then San Francisco and Arizona. Arizona won yesterday 5-4 despite being in a return home spot, so they were able to overcome that bad spot yesterday. I keep telling you San Francisco's not good. Arizona did use 3 relief pitchers, which is not too bad. San Francisco only used 2. Both bullpens have kind of struggled, though. I know Arizona's ranked 8th, but their bullpen ERA is in the mid-4s, so they are really more of a mediocre bullpen. Giants are 25th. I think they're actually better than that. Their bullpen ERA is actually better than Arizona's, believe it or not. Although it makes sense in a way because the Giants had the better bullpen last year out of these two teams fairly significantly. I think the Giants are also more of a mediocre bullpen. So that's what I think. I think both bullpens are mediocre. I think the Giants may actually have the slightly better bullpen, but I'm not sure. Hasn't really been the case this year, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Giants are tied in 12th offensively, tied with Houston. I still don't buy that. I don't think the Giants are good. Offensively, I still don't think they're good. Arizona's really had some bad times offensively. They're at 27th. However, I do think there are going to be some runs in this game. Landon Raup is pitching for the Giants, or Roop. I still have to figure out what the pronunciation is there. I do generally like him. He's got some really nasty breaking stuff. He's got a 4.07 ERA. 1.29 whip is not that good, but his numbers are not awful. He's been pretty good on the road, 3.83 road ERA. So I don't know why he pitches worse at home in a pitcher-friendly park, but that's the way it is. He's been good in his last 2 starts, on the road against Miami and at home against the A's. Went 6 innings in both of them, allowed 2 earned runs in each of them. 13-2 strikeout walk ratio over that span. So he is pitching better over his last 2 starts. And really kind of like 3 of his last 4 starts have been pretty good. So he's coming back into form here a little bit, which is good. He's got a low hit rate, but his walk rate is his problem. His walks are way too high, but he also does have a high strikeout rate. And he does induce a lot of ground balls. But yeah, that walk rate, he's got to fix that. That is bad. Numbers against Arizona are also, they're really bad. In 65 at-bats, he's given up a 400 average to them in 65 at-bats. You usually do not see a batting average allowed that's that high in a sample size that big. That's really bad. The OPS is 1,019, also not good. 9-4 strikeout walk ratio. So I don't trust Raup in this matchup. I think he could get knocked around a bit. And Brandon Pfaadt, I don't know if he's actually pitching or not because I looked and then it was undecided. I know it is going to be Pfaadt. It was undecided for a bit for Arizona. Fott has been in the minors. That's how bad things have gotten for Arizona, man. For some of these pitchers, they sent Fott to the minors, and I haven't looked to see how well he pitched in the minors, but they brought him back up, and his numbers this year are awful in the majors. 5.92 ERA, 1.5 whip. Really, really bad. Not good at home, 6.08 home ERA, so that is not good either. His last start before they sent him to the minors, or maybe it wasn't even a start, they were giving him like some really short appearances. He hasn't gone more than 1 2/3 innings since early May, basically, so things are not good for Fott. Like, they basically made him a relief pitcher. So that's not good. Yeah, he only made 3 starts early this season. Then he was pitching as a relief pitcher, and that probably hurt his confidence because he still wasn't good. But maybe he'll be more confident now that they're giving him a start again. Maybe he'll be excited, dude. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance that he comes out and he gets pumped up because, okay, I get another shot at this. I get to start again. You know what I mean? So he'll be motivated, I think. But his numbers do not really suggest anything good here. He hasn't pitched well. He's been bad at home, and his numbers against the Giants are also not good. 296 average allowed, 751 OPS in 71 career at-bats, 14-5 strikeout walk ratio. So, over is what makes the most sense to me in this game. The money's backing the over. The total's at 9, 56% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. I'm tempted to give that one out too, but I just think that Fott could have motivation here. Raup, I mean, is a better pitcher than maybe people think, so I'm going to leave it alone, but Raup does have really bad matchup numbers here. And the home road splits do favor Raup here, though. But the money's actually backing Arizona, hilariously. 51% of tickets, 67% of the cash on Arizona here. So the money's backing Arizona at a very small price at about minus 108. I don't really agree. I think San Francisco might be the way to lean in this game. I think I prefer Raup over Fott, but the over is much, much better, I think, in this game than anything else. I think over, it's close to being a play for me, the over in that one. All right. That is the baseball card. Let's try to finish this off. I'm going to give out a play right now in the WNBA. All right. We're going to go to the Commissioner's Cup game here. We're going to play Las Vegas plus 2.5. We got to get back on the right track here, man. Now, the money is agreeing with me on this. 50% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Vegas. Hopefully it stays. Actually, hold on. The number's 6.5 now. What are we doing? Why is it 6.5 now? Hold on. I'm going to pull that down. Why is it 6.5 now? I have not actually played this game yet, but there's got to be like an injury or something. What the hell is going on here? Hold on. Let me take a look real quick. I don't know what's... Oh, Asia Wilson is going to miss the game. Oh, shit. I mean, it looks like Barker and Evans out too, but Asia Wilson is the reason why this line moved. Yeah, she's out. Now, do we still want to play the Aces here at the 6.5? We might want to. So Wilson, this is her first game out, so I think it's going to be an injured player theory spot now for the Aces, right? Because she's their best player. Like, she's like an MVP caliber player, and I think she might have won the MVP last year because Collier got hurt, and Collier was on pace to do it. Yeah, I think we might want to still do this, man, on the Aces here, because she did play in their last game against Chicago, and that was a loss for us on the show, I know. And one thing that worries me is if you look at this game, we got completely screwed on this game, dude. We had a horrible second quarter, and that completely threw the game off. But look at what happened in this game, dude. Chicago had 80 field goal attempts to Vegas' 63, and Chicago couldn't even cover a +7. Like, how is that even possible? If you have almost 20 more field goal attempts in the game, you don't even come within 7. I told you this is a misleading result. Vegas also went to the line 37 times to Chicago's 25, and Vegas hit 15 more free throws. They hit 84% of theirs. Chicago 64% of theirs. So that completely screwed us too. Vegas shot 52% from the field and 40% from 3. So those were outliers. So there were so many outliers in this game that screwed us. Chicago won the rebound battle in the game. I told you that was not a loss that we should have taken, dude. I had Chicago correct in that game. Like, look at how many outliers there were in that game. So I told you I was going to show you it, and I did. There you go. So I'm really, really pissed. That should have been a win. My WNBA has been a lot better than the 6-6 that we actually are right now. We should be like 9-3, basically, and maybe 10-3 because I had another really good play that I left off my card that I almost added. But anyway, you know what? Let's just do this. Fuck it. Let's play Vegas at the 6.5 or whatever. Let me see. Can we get a 7 on this? Let me see. I mean, I talk about the injured player theory all the time, and the deal is that the line overreacts to an injured player. You know what I mean? Like, the line gets skewed too much towards an injured player. Vegas is still a fairly deep team, and they still have some decent players here. So, a lot of times the line will overreact to that. We're not going to get a 7 on this right now. It's 6.5 basically everywhere, but we can definitely get the 6.5. I think we should still do it. I'm going to add that right now. Hang on. So I actually like, dude, I think it just adds another angle for us here that we can sink our teeth into. So we'll change that to Vegas 6.5 here. So we're going to play on the injured player theory spot with Wilson out, which again, I point out multiple things about the injured player theory spot. One is the line overreacts to the injured player. So I think the line is overreacted. We're getting 4 extra points here with her out. And the other thing about it is the team usually steps up their game that first game with the injured player. The team knows they have to play hard without her. So I think you're going to get a heavily motivated effort from Vegas here. And I think they're going to want to just try to win this game because, dude, you've gotten this far. This is the Commissioner's Cup final. So I think they're going to be motivated. But I have more angles to use here, too. Next is the Liberty returning home from the road. And I always talk about this. They're returning home from the Pacific Coast. So they're traveling across 3 time zones here. And yes, I know Vegas is traveling too, but Vegas is only traveling from the Central time zone. So I'll talk about that now because I already talked about it. They just played a game that was, I know it was an outlier. I know Vegas should have lost that game to Chicago based on the statistics in the game. But I don't think that's going to really impact their motivation level here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they had a whatever game against Chicago. They won the game. And now they're only traveling to New York from Chicago here. So this travel spot is way better for Vegas. I still think Vegas was kind of overlooking Chicago in that spot because I think they had their eyes set on this game against New York. So I think Vegas is still showing up here. I think they're going to be more motivated now that Wilson is out. And the Liberty are in a terrible spot, dude. The Liberty are returning home from a week-plus road trip to the Pacific Coast where they played L.A., they played Vegas, and won the game in Vegas. And then they lost to Seattle in a letdown spot, and they did lose to Golden State. I'm kind of mad because that was my second strongest play that day. That was the day we lost on Chicago. And I also liked Golden State in that on that slate that day. And Golden State was a winner. So, of course, it was. Some of my other leans. Golden State, they've been leans for me a couple of times, and I haven't given them out. Not a fan of that. But anyway, the Liberty are returning home from a long road trip. They've been away since June 21st. They only have 1 day off here to return home from the Pacific Coast. I think that's a bad spot, dude. They have to readjust to the time zone here, even though I know it's west to east, so it's not as bad, but they're going to have more adjusting to do. Plus, I always talk about the return home spot can always throw distractions into your wake, and they might actually, dude, I know this is the Cup final, but they might overlook Vegas a little bit, even though this is a home game, whatever, it's on Prime, it's an isolated game, but they just beat Vegas on the road, dude, so Vegas might take this game more seriously, and I've been eyeing this game since this game happened, and Vegas has actually been bad at home. Vegas is 4-3 at home, so Vegas has not been good at home, but on the road, I have to look. I don't even know. Dude, they don't show their home road records here. What's the deal with that? Is this game not at the Liberty home stadium? Let me see, at their home arena? It is. Yeah, so I don't know why this is not considered to be a home game. I mean, I guess it's considered to be a game that's not on the schedule, but yes, this is hosted at the Barclays Center, which is where the Liberty play. Anyway, if you dig into this box score, yeah, the Liberty won on the road, and the Liberty, yes, the Liberty, I think, are actually better on the road. Hold on, let me see. Liberty, they lost that last game on the road. What is their home record? That's what I want to see here. Can I look at the standings or something? Let me see. Because I want to, just illustrate this point a little bit more here. Yeah, home record. The Liberty are, where are we looking? The Liberty are only 6-4 at home, so they have not been a dominant home team. and the Aces are 9-2 on the road. That's what I was looking for. The Aces have been excellent on the road, and the Liberty not good at home. So something to consider there. The Liberty also are 8-1 in conference. So in the Eastern Conference, the Liberty are 8-1, which means that they're 4-7 against the Western Conference. So the Liberty are not good against the West. So that's not a good sign either. Whereas the Aces, they're 10-4 in conference. That means that against the East, they are, 4-1, I guess, against the East. So those things line up pretty well, too. Those are things I hadn't even really considered. But, yeah, so the West is just a stronger conference, dude, than the East right now, even though I know the East has Atlanta, Indiana, whatever. But the West, they got Minnesota, Golden State. You know, they're just a stronger conference. So I think that doesn't bode well for the Liberty here either. And I know, yes, the Liberty did just win at Vegas. So that was what I was just going to show you. This is a bit of a misleading result here in this game. Of course it was. Look at what happened in this game. Aces had 7 more field goal attempts in the game. They only shot 30% from 3, though, but the Liberty shot 42% from 3. They had 5 more threes, so they were plus 15 from three-point range. So that's what I was talking about. This was an outlier of a game, dude. The Liberty were plus 15 from 3. They wound up winning the game by 11, and they also went to the line more. The Aces usually go to the line a lot, and I know without Wilson, that's going to be tough for them to get to the line a lot, but they only went to the line 8 times in that game, and the Liberty went twice as many times, 16. So the Liberty were plus 8 from the free throw line and plus 15 from three-point range. Those are outliers, dude, that should regress. Like, we should probably see some more even foul calling here. And the Liberty hit so many threes in that game, that's probably going to regress a bit. The rebounding battle was close, yes, I know. But all we need is for this to be a closer game here at this point, man. We just need Vegas to cover the 6.5, but that's what we're going to do. So I think there are a lot of things that line up nicely for this. And the injured player spot just thrown on top of that, I think just gives us some more value in the line. So take Vegas plus the points. Let's get this done, man. Let's get back on the winning track in the WNBA. All right, and then we do have World Cup. Arlington, Texas, we have Ivory Coast and Norway here. Ivory Coast is coming in from beating Curacao. I mean, who cares? They beat Curacao. Ivory Coast did play pretty well against Ecuador and Germany, though. So they've had a World Cup that's been fairly competitive. And they played well against Germany and lost in like almost in extra time there. They lost in stoppage time is what I meant to say there. On a late goal. So Ivory Coast has played pretty well against some decent opponents. I mean, they had a whatever game against Curacao. Who cares about that? Now they're traveling in from Philadelphia to Texas here. Norway is coming in from Foxborough Stadium, I believe. Norway's the better team. They're plus 115 on the three-way line here. They're favored to advance. So some things to consider here. Norway, I think, dude, people are shitting on Norway because they lost to France in their last game. But remember, Norway benched all their starters except for one of them. Norway literally benched 10 of their 11 starters in that game. So Norway's second string is what lost to France there. So that game, you can't tell anything based on that game, dude. Norway, they're definitely a strong team, dude. So I don't know. I kind of like Norway in this one. I think giving their players rest made sense. And the fact that everybody was blasting them for not playing any of their players, I think that's going to, kind of give them a little bit of a jab here. So I kind of like Norway here. I don't agree with Saab, who likes Ivory Coast here. I slightly lean Norway. I don't have a strong opinion on it, but Norway did beat Senegal. That was a good win for them. Norway did play their starters in that one, and they won. I mean, they were the better team in the game. Senegal is not a bad team either. But yeah, I mean, again, you can't gauge anything by them playing France. So yes, I know. The bad thing is that Norway didn't battle test their starters by playing them against France, but they also kept them healthy. And France is better than Germany is. So, keeping that in mind there. I don't have a strong opinion on that game, though. But, just a slight lean towards Norway. Yes, I know you're on the Ivory Coast. I do not like these draws, dude. I know your draw hit yesterday, but I'm not going to keep firing on draws in the fucking knockout round, dude. I'm not going to do it. I don't understand what you're saying. You're basically admitting that there's value on Norway by saying them they should be minus 125. You're getting them plus 100. I don't agree with you on the Ivory Coast. I think Norway is kind of stupid for swapping places with France because I think Norway would rather play Sweden. Norway would be a heavier favorite against Sweden. Sweden is not as good as the Ivory Coast, so I agree with that. But no, I think Norway wins. I have them beating Brazil in my bracket, so I like Norway. They have a very dangerous offense. And I think Norway, again, they're getting shit on because they rested everybody. No. The bookies, like, again, they're shading the line, I think, because they know that the World Cup is going to get publicly bet. So I think they know that the public is kind of not really on the Norway train right now. So they've skewed the line towards the public. I've already looked at the market read. The public is more on Norway than the money. The money has the public is more on Ivory Coast, excuse me. If you look, I looked at Action Network. They have the numbers there. I know I don't love Action Network's numbers really, but Action Network says that there is a slight cash percentage edge on Norway in the game. So the market read is slightly indicating on Norway. France and Sweden, I don't have much on this game. France is minus 340. They're the better team. They're only coming in from Foxborough to New Jersey here. Sweden is having to travel from, I don't even know where they were, Arlington, Texas. So Sweden has a little bit of a travel disadvantage here. They just had a draw with Japan. Japan's now out. France is not going to lose here, even though, France is overvalued probably. Everyone is picking France to win this whole thing at this point. But they're not going to lose to Sweden, dude. I would be shocked if they did. But can you lay minus 340 on the three-way line? I don't think so. I think maybe the way to look at this, because it is a high total, is maybe to just play France over their team total. But even that, you're probably not getting much value in that. You're going to need them to score 3.5 probably. You're probably going to need them to score 4 goals if you do that, which is getting that's pushing it, man. That is pushing it. You could look at, I know a lot of guys like the both teams to score market. You could maybe look at that, but I don't know how much value you're getting on that either. But maybe both teams will score in this one, especially if France has a big lead and they just kind of let up a little bit. But I don't love that because it is kind of fluky to ask both teams to score, so whatever. And then the game that I actually have the strongest opinion on is the last game. I like Mexico, and I almost put this on my card. Mexico, I was wrong. Mexico is actually getting to still play in Mexico in the knockout round, so I was wrong. So Mexico has a home advantage here, and Mexico has yet to concede a single goal in the World Cup, but my worry is that's because they played easy opponents. They played South Africa, South Korea, and Czech Republic, and all 3 of those teams are already out. South Africa barely made the knockout round and got knocked out immediately by Canada, who's not even good. And then South Korea and Czech Republic didn't even make the knockout round. So you have to dial it back a little bit on Mexico, but they've been good. They haven't allowed a goal yet. My worry is that they have to step up in class. Ecuador is going to be the best team that Mexico has faced so far. So that is my worry. Mexico is plus 130 on the three-way line here. But I think Ecuador has some issues in the scheduling spot here. They just beat Germany, and I gave out Ecuador as a play there. That's going to make Ecuador look a little bit better than they are because that was a huge win over Germany. But I told you, Germany didn't need that game. Germany had already won the group, so Germany had no motivation there. I think it's the spot is better for Mexico because I think Germany's kind of in a letdown spot here. But my worry is that Ecuador is more battle-tested because Ecuador also played Ivory Coast. Although they lost, it was 1-0. Ivory Coast and Germany are both better than Mexico, both better than all of Mexico's opponents, in my opinion. So, so that's my worry with Mexico is that Ecuador is more battle-tested. That is my worry. But they're going to be up against it, man, playing in Mexico and having to travel here. So let me see. Mexico has played most of their games in Mexico already. Ecuador is coming in from New Jersey here, like I said. Mexico, they played their last game in the U.S., I'm pretty sure, right? No, they played in Mexico. So Mexico is staying in Mexico. They're actually staying in Mexico City for this, too. So Mexico literally is not even traveling. So this was really close to being a play for me. I would take Mexico on the three-way line, plus 130. You need them to win in the first 90 minutes if you do that, but that's the way I'd play this game. Mexico to win. No. Dude, beating Germany makes you look better than you actually are. I agree that they play the tougher schedule, but beating Germany is gonna make you overrated, and it's gonna put you in a letdown spot, and it's gonna make you overconfident. No, I don't agree with that. I think Mexico's just being overlooked. Like, I don't think people think Mexico is that good, and I don't even think they're that good, but they're better than Ecuador. The odds makers are telling you they're at least better, or they're getting the home advantage here at the very least. But no, I think the fact that Ecuador just beat Germany is a bad thing, and it's misleading because they beat an unmotivated Germany team. My only issue, and it looks worse now that Germany lost yesterday to fucking Paraguay, who's not even good at all. But that's my other issue with this, is that Ecuador's win over Germany now looks less good because Germany just got eliminated by Paraguay. So now that might mean people are like, oh, well, maybe Ecuador's not that good for beating Germany. So that has me dialing it back a little bit on Mexico here for that reason. If Germany won yesterday, maybe I'd like this a little bit more. I like Mexico. That's my strongest opinion out of these three games today. Also, the cash does agree with me on that too, by the way. According to Action Network, the money is leaning towards me. Sorry, stop. I don't agree with you. Sorry. I'm not a World Cup guy, but I won 5 out of my first 6 World Cup plays. I know I lost yesterday, which I think was kind of bullshit if you look at the stats. Germany was really, really putting up a lot of offense in the second half of that match, and they weren't translating it to goals, except for one of them. And Germany dominated the extra time, too. I don't know how they didn't score in extra time. Aces are plus 7. Got to take the plus 7. Well, Pinnacle is I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name. They're an offshore, though. You can't bet with them, man. Hold on, let me see. Do we get a 7? I mean, you could just wait on this. I don't see a 7 at any of the main books, though. You could wait. It makes sense, I guess, on that game to wait and see if you can get a 7 at some point during the day, but I have to score it at 6.5 here because there isn't a 7. So you could wait and see if you get a 7, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of the big U.S. books are going to do it. That's going to do it for the show here today. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. We have a loaded baseball card here. We have 5 plays today. Under 7.5 in Rangers Indians. Under 7.5 in Tigers Yankees. First 5 money line Minnesota Twins. Under first 5 under the 4 in Anaheim Seattle. Las Vegas in WNBA plus 6.5 or 7 if you can actually find a 7, but I don't really think you're going to see it. Maybe. But it looks like the money, I think the public is probably not going to be involved in that game, really. So, and then my strongest World Cup lean that almost made my card was Mexico on the 3-way line at plus 130, which, by the way, it makes no sense because the spread, the minus half goal on Mexico, you have to pay like plus 110 for it. So, again, you're looking at 2 different markets, but it's crazy that the line is that far off because it's the same bet. And again, remember, I was wrong slightly. If you play the spread or the 3-way line on these soccer games, it's only the first 90 minutes is what you're playing. So if it goes into extra time, I thought it was just if it goes into penalty kicks, but if it goes into extra time, none of that counts towards the bet. So, which makes sense for the total, but it doesn't maybe make that much sense for the other plays, but whatever. So I don't even know if there's a market where you can play like the full... You can, include extra time, but of course you can play the 2 advanced line. That's the other thing. But those lines seem like, you just have heavier favorites mostly on the 2 advanced lines. So, it seems like the 3-way options and whatever, they give you like better options to play these games. So, that's the way that I think it is. You can't bet any of those. Yeah. There are ways that you might be able to do it. There's something that has 3 initials and starts with a V, if you know what I mean. And I'm not talking about Vaj or anything like that. You know what I mean. It will allow you to present as if you're in a different country. You know what I'm saying. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Let's have a winning day today, man. We had a very slight winning day yesterday somehow. Thank you to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Thank you, Aaron Nola. I should send him a gift. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to this channel. Here, we're like 6 away from 500. Let's get to it, man. We did get some subscribers recently. Let's go. I've been changing. Let me know if you like my AI thumbnails that I've been using recently, because Descript has a new feature for that, so I've been using that recently. There's less consistency to it, but maybe it keeps things more interesting and gets more eyes on it and looks more eye-popping. Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, or whatever. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube, but my voice needs to come back for me to do anything with that. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can support me there. Losercast, we had to move the show to Monday again this week, so if you missed it, you can go watch that from yesterday. Check that out. And then the Giants G-Spot podcast. We'll be back at some point. I was on Nephilim Death Squad, Neph to America on Friday, so if you missed that, go find that. And I'm going to be on those guys that do the Pick Is In podcast. They have another podcast that's, I guess, less sports focused. That's called, or less betting focused at least. It's just more of a shoot the shit podcast. It's called Here's the Thing, I think is the name of it. So I haven't found it yet on YouTube. You can go find that. I'm going to be on that show Friday evening, I think. So you can go find that as well. That's going to do it. Oh, thank you. The intro, outro song, I am hesitant to do that because you know how I created it, and there are reasons why I can't really do that. And this channel, if I get more subscribers, this channel might get stricken for those reasons too, just for using part of that song. So I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I should just go and, and pay, and do what I need to do for it. You know what I mean? I'm not allowed to say any of that though. Scratch that from the record. Maybe I'll just go do that, just so I can get around that, you know what I mean? That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram. Oh, no, I already said all that. You know where I am. That's going to do it. Let's win today. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.